tonight, a second major political move this week, and this time it's not in Ottawa.
After 4 election victories, 13 years in elected politics, Andrew Parsons says he's had enough.
Politics can be a grind. In the last 4 years especially, between COVID and everything else, the dynamic has changed.
I'm Terry Roberts. I'll have that story coming up.
Police in St. John's are warning drivers about dangerous behavior along highway overpasses.
Once it got cold and everything froze over and the snow came, it was just like a little piece of Labrador to me.
We meet the Labrador man whose solo adventure into the wild paid off in a big way.
This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. We're a little later this evening due to CBC's ongoing coverage of the Paralympic Games in Paris. So let's get to your local news. A veteran Liberal MHA and cabinet minister is leaving politics, meaning that for the first time in a quarter century, the district of Burgeo-Lapoile will not be represented by a politician named Parsons. Here and Now's Terry Roberts has that story.
He's a leading political figure in the Liberal government of Premier Andrew Furey. And if you go by election results, well, he's wildly popular in his district of Burgeo-Lapoile. But today, Andrew Parsons made it official. For 13 years, he's been making this walk into Confederation Building. But Parsons announced on his Facebook page this morning that he won't be on the ballot in the next provincial election, which must happen in the fall of 2025, if not before.
It's an absolute grind. I've loved every minute of it, but it's time to go.
He's been considering this for a few years and began spreading the news Thursday evening to those closest to him.
It had nothing to do with politics. It had nothing to do with my prospects of re-election or the team. I'm confident that if I ran, I could put up a good fight. I'm confident in our premier and our team that they're going to win the next election. This was a decision that I made for me.
For the last 4 years, Parsons has been ensconced at the Natural Resources Building as Minister of Industry, Energy and Technology, leading the department through a COVID-induced crisis that nearly destroyed the province's oil and gas sector, and a growing green hydrogen industry that has attracted international attention. But the high point of his political career?
I've made a hell of a lot of friends.
A low point came in 2020 when COVID hit and his wife faced a worrisome health challenge. The Parsons family left Port aux Basques to spend more time together and relocated to Holyrood.
There's a lot of grind when you're driving 9 hours back and forth to spend 2 days home and not getting that quality time.
Parsons will stay on as a cabinet minister. He says there's still work to be done. So why is Andrew Parsons leaving politics? After all, he's only 45. And there's no obvious threat to his political dominance on the province's southwest coast. He says he wants potential successors to have plenty of time to prepare for a political run. As for his future, Andrew Parsons has options. He's a lawyer, so he could go back into practice. He now has years of public administration experience, so maybe there's a role for him in industry. But how about Judge Andrew Parsons? Does he want a seat on the bench?
That doesn't sound like a plausible end goal for me.
Parsons was first elected in the 2011 provincial election, succeeding his father, Kelvin Parsons, who had held the seat for a dozen years.
I have no doubt I came in on his coattails.
Parsons was part of a small team that helped rebuild the Liberals during their 4 years in opposition. When his party stormed to power in 2015, Parsons led the way in Burgeo-Lapoile, capturing more than 96% of the vote. He also had big wins in 2019 and 2021, and a long stint as the province's Minister of Justice. Parsons says he's still years away from collecting his government pension and plans to keep working after politics.
I want to do something different.
Regardless of what comes next, this father-son political dynasty will always be a unique chapter in this province's colorful political history. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, Newfoundland and Labrador has a tentative rate mitigation deal with the Innu Nation. In a release today, Premier Andrew Furey calls the deal a significant step forward. The Innu Nation first took the provincial government to court over the $5 billion deal in 2021, claiming neither the province nor Ottawa consulted with the Innu, and that case was dropped to allow all parties to enter talks. But 2 months ago, the Innu Nation signaled it would be taking the province back to court. The deal offers relief to ratepayers in Newfoundland, but the Innu Nation calls it a bailout and says it will cost them royalties. The province says there will be more details on the agreement in the coming weeks. Police in St. John's are investigating people throwing rocks and microwaves from overpasses in the city. One driver told the RNC his car roof was damaged after 2 people threw something from the overpass on Columbus Drive. And a St. John's tow truck driver shared startling pictures of smashed items and damaged cars. The RNC says it has only one official complaint and can't investigate based on social media posts.
In terms of the items, we're aware of a social media post where items were located on the road on the Gushu Highway. But right now, that's all the information we have is information we've observed in the social post. So it's important that information is reported so that we can respond immediately and provide an appropriate investigation.
Well, the union representing registered nurses in the province says the numbers aren't adding up. According to government, 660 nurses have been recruited since April of 2023, but the RNU says that's incorrect. Union President Yvette Coffey says nurses are working 24-hour shifts, permanent positions remain vacant, and the public healthcare system is critically understaffed. She told CBC Radio this afternoon that new graduates aren't being hired and instead positions are being held for internationally educated nurses who aren't on the ground. She's asking the province to explain its data.
I do wonder if the 660 is job offers versus filled positions. Any other industry or company, you don't say a position is filled until a person is there on the ground and actually doing the work. You know, we've been looking for the latest vacancy report since April 1st and have yet to receive it.
Well, the leader of the opposition says the province created a transitional housing facility in St. John's without a plan, and it still doesn't have one. This week, we reported that 43 vulnerable people are living in the former Comfort Inn Hotel near the airport, and that number is gradually growing. 40 staff are working on site, which is being run by End Homelessness St. John's. Tony Wakeham says it was a reactive move for the Liberals to transform the former hotel. 8 months later, he says there are still many uncertainties, like the NDP. The PCs question what will happen to residents after the province's 3-year lease expires.
Kudos to End Homelessness and Doug Paulson for the work that they have done in coming in and basically helping government out or bailing government out, because government started off with no plan, no idea of how they were going to staff this, and no idea of what programs and services they were going to offer. What happens in 3 years' time when the contract or the lease is up? What happens to all these people? And so where do they go? And you know, $40 million over 3 years is a huge amount of money. Could that have been better spent in other ways? We don't know, because those consultations didn't take place.
Well, a new report from RE/MAX confirms what you likely already know. It's not easy to buy a home these days. Prices are high and so are interest rates, and inventory is low, especially if you're trying to find affordable housing.
We need more inventory. Yeah, and I think this is a time where you know, it's unprecedented in the 4 decades I've been involved in real estate, that we have now a time for leaders in the industry to come forward and developers and talk to the municipalities and the provincial government and the federal government and start being creative and find those solutions. You know, we need to be working towards finding those areas, those lands that are available, and working with the city to get that zoning, appropriate zoning done quicker, removing a lot of the red tape, working with the builders and the developers to put product in the ground faster and help those that need housing get them in there quicker. So like that's fairly complex, but it comes with reliable communication. You know, if I look for one word in in a business or a personal relationship, it has to be communication, a good, reliable communication. Without it, you can't have a great relationship.
The federal government has made 2 school lunch announcements in Newfoundland and Labrador. It's millions of dollars of new money to help students who might otherwise go hungry. Meantime, advocates say the need here is growing. Here now's Henrika Wilhelm reports.
This is a historic moment. This is a moment to reflect, to celebrate, but also to continue the work.
That work is bringing food into schools, and now Newfoundland and Labrador has signed onto the National School Food Program. $9 million over 3 years, split between several groups. The money will provide thousands of students with food at 58 more schools.
About 10 years ago, the program was operating in 16 schools. And here we are now operating in 43. So we're talking about almost like a tripling of our footprint. And to me, that speaks to the need.
The School Lunch Association provides meals to about 12,000 students, mostly in the St. John's metro area, as well as Clarenville and Gander. That's almost 20% of the total provincial student population. Factors in rising demand, says Finn, inflation, rising food costs, and the pandemic.
Pre-pandemic, 90% of our funds was coming from the sale of food. Last year was 70%. So we're seeing a decrease in the abilities of a family to pay the full amount for their child's lunch.
Finn says the new money won't cover all their costs, and so their pay-what-you-can model will stay. But he still welcomes the new program, something his association has been pushing for years.
The school food program that we're rolling out across the country as provinces sign on is expected to save hundreds of dollars, up to $800 for a family with 2 kids across the country, and that's going to make a real difference.
Then, earlier today, another announcement.
We're investing over $20 million in funding for Canada's first ever school food infrastructure program.
Funding to improve nonprofits' infrastructure and equipment to make sure the actual food needed for the new school food program can be produced and delivered.
Whether it's kitchen supplies or delivery vans to get food to the school, this funding will help us with some of the infrastructure costs.
What does it take to take the food that we grow or that we hunt or that we gather and turn that into something else, whether it's something in a bottle or something in a box, something cut so that it can be consumed in a healthcare institution? There's a lot of need for that kind of processing capacity around the province. We hear that over and over.
Advocates agree that the new programs are a great first step in addressing a growing need. And they say it was long overdue, as Canada had been the only G7 country without a school food program. Henrika Wilhelm, CBC News, St. John's.
We'll talk about alone time. A Labrador man has won a survival reality show called Alone. William Larkham Jr. won season 11 of the show after spending 84 days near Inuvik in the Northwest Territories, and his survival skills brought him a big cash prize, $500,000.
Winning this prize, this $500,000, allows us to do things we never thought possible before.
When I flied in, I was loving the spot right from the get-go, and they landed me on a little hill called Juniper Hill. That was the name of my place, but there's a lot of creeks and streams and ponds. It was really muddy and murky and like a lot of clay. And that was kind of like unfamiliar to me, but once it got cold and everything froze over and the snow came, it was just like a little piece of Labrador to me. It felt really homely. Total surprise, really, and then when she touched me on the shoulder, look, I just went lightheaded, really. I think I probably, if she never grabbed me, I might have went to the ground. I don't know. I'll be honest and I'll say that I enjoyed every day out there. Going on this experience because it is a tough one to win, and so even if I lost, I wanted to come out of it with a good experience. So the only way to do that is go out there to be real positive, enjoy every day, and get the most out of it as you can, and that's what I done. But I always kept I always kept focused on what I'm there for, but I just want to enjoy every day, so that if I did not win, because anything could happen out there, I still want to come out of it with a good positive feeling, and everything just worked out good, I guess.
The weekend is here. We'll have a quiet start to the weekend with Saturday, just some cloudy skies, a couple of showers edging into the southwest. Wetter weather set for Sunday with some showers and even periods of rain for Labrador. Your full forecast is coming up. Time for a check of your full weather forecast. Ryan Snodden in for Ashley this evening, and let's talk about another beautiful day across the province. 28 in the interior, Badger towards Grand Falls, Windsor, 23 in St. John's, and 27, as you can see, Deer Lake into the Corner Brook region at 25, 26 degrees at Churchill Falls. Just a terrific day. Yeah, Nain on the other side of this frontal boundary, which has been edging its way into northern areas of the province. Clouds building in this afternoon in through the south and west, but high pressure still holding on. It's, again, off to the south. We're watching this low, which is, yeah, going to bring some heavy rain, some gusty winds to the Maritimes. Also some gustier winds in through the Wreck House area as we move into the later stages of Saturday. But this system is going to fizzle as it moves northward. And so not a high impact event for Newfoundland and Labrador at all. We'll see tonight temperatures anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees across the island. We'll see 6 in Nain with a few showers again along that frontal boundary, but to the south it will remain pretty quiet indeed. And yeah, that cloud cover will certainly thicken up as we move throughout the day on Saturday. Maybe a shower squeaking into the Burgeo-Ramia areas as well as Port aux Basques and up towards the Wreck House area. Looks like it will stay south of the Port-au-Port at least through the daytime hours, but tomorrow evening it will be expanding. That shower area will be expanding towards the north, so keep that in mind if you do have some Saturday evening plans in through Corner Brook and down towards the Burin Peninsula. We'll time that out in just a second. Your forecast for tomorrow, you can see with that southeast wind, St. John's metro area near 18, but for the northwest Avalon should get up into the 20 range, 22 range, and same thing for the Clarenville region, then Gander back towards Grand Falls, Windsor, best chance for mid-20s. So yeah, just be mindful that with that southeast wind, it will be cooler for the eastern Avalon and across that south coast, no question about it. Showers for Nain, 11 degrees there for tomorrow, but another beautiful day across southern Labrador. Now, this system, as I said, will be marching its way northward, bringing some shower chances for Saturday evening to the south and west. By Sunday morning, the greatest risk for showers will indeed be for western areas and could even see some steadier periods of rain, especially for southwestern parts of the island. And those periods of rain will be most likely here through eastern parts of Labrador. Happy Valley, Goose Bay, Cartwright, down toward the Strait, even towards the center of this low as it continues to move through. Winds will be southerly on Sunday, and so temperatures are certainly going to remain mild. Will be 22, 23 degrees from St. John's to Corner Brook, a little cooler along that south coast, of course, and through the Strait into St. Anthony. We'll see, again, high teens with the better chance for some periods of rain here up into the Happy Valley, Goose Bay and Cartwright region. Temperatures on the backside of this low, much cooler, just 12 degrees in through Labrador City. And yeah, we'll also be watching kind of a secondary low to follow things up. So it actually looks like Sunday night into Monday will be the better chance for some periods of rain moving in through eastern parts of Newfoundland, and that will continue to track through the early stages of Monday. But by Monday afternoon, this is all, at least as of now, projected to move off to the north as this wraparound low moves its way off and out. And so, yeah, we'll look at some better, fairer skies for Tuesday with temperatures near 19 degrees. Chance of a shower back in the mix for Wednesday, however, 16. Now for central parts of Newfoundland, again, great start to the weekend. Get out and enjoy those clouds building in throughout the day tomorrow. For Sunday and Monday, those showers certainly in the mix. And again, keeping an eye on those steadier periods of rain potentially late Sunday, more so into the Monday morning time frame. Similar story for western Newfoundland. Again, periods of rain possible on Sunday. Looks like temperatures will be, kind of riding into the mid-teens for most of us by Wednesday of next week as this cooler air mass moves its way in. Note the shower is on tap for Sunday beyond through Happy Valley, Goose Bay, and for western Labrador, with those temperatures kind of riding into the low double digits and low teens. That is your forecast now. Carolyn, back to you.
Thanks so much, Ryan.
My name is Mike Blackwood, and we're here at Salmonier Nature Park. So the Nature Park is an environmental education center and a wildlife rehabilitation center. So most of the animals that we display along our trail, they're either orphans that we've raised or they're injured in some way that prevents their release. Anything that's brought to us by a conservation officer, if it's a good candidate for rehab, if we think it's going to be able to go back to the wild, we never expose it to the public. And once it's made a full recovery, we just bring it back wherever it came from and release it again. But the hard luck cases, they end up on the trail. Animals like our moose that have been around humans since they were extremely young, and therefore they're not tame, but they're certainly not wild enough to release and look after themselves. Or animals like our bald eagle that have injuries that impair their flight and their ability to be independent. These are the kind of animals that are kept and put on the trail. We just fence off a portion of each animal's normal habitat, and then it gets to have as close to a normal life as possible despite being on display. Growing up, I was always fascinated with nature, and coming here and seeing wildlife with my family, and then later on with school field trips in the early 80s, it just made a really big impression on me. And when I was studying biology, I realized that I really loved talking to people about nature and getting them excited about the natural world. And when I had the opportunity to start work here, it was just a perfect combination of my, my interests and my gift for gab. It's just a really special place that allows people to understand so much more about the landscape and the wildlife that makes Newfoundland and Labrador a special place and has such an impact on shaping our culture over our history.
All right, I'd love to go out there. Haven't been there in a while. Well, I want to give you another chance to enter our Back to School contest. Now, this week, cameraman Curtis Hicks returned to his elementary school and recreated his first day photo. And we want to see your photos of first days gone by. Send them to hereandnow.nl@cbc.ca, and we'll draw for a prize, a swanky CBC bag with some goodies inside.
Enjoy these blooms while they last. We'll soon be saying goodbye to summer, but for gardeners, that just means thinking ahead, dreaming about next year. Coming up, we'll take you through this beautiful garden and hopefully you'll get inspired. Well, the season may be winding down now, but gardeners are always thinking ahead to next year. And as you're planning and dreaming about your own garden next year, today we have some inspiration for you in this beautiful garden here in St. John's. Joining me now is Pat and Toby Rivers. So you have an amazing space here. Thank you so much for having us.
Well, thank you.
Can you tell us how long you've been here, how long you've been working on this garden?
Well, we bought the house, I think, in 1977, but we had 2 children who had a soccer pitch here and a climbing frame and a sandbox. So I guess for the first 20 years we were here, we didn't do very much gardening. But since then, we've been at it almost non-stop, you might say.
How much work goes into maintaining this kind of garden?
Well, it's a labour of love, so you don't call it work all the time, but a lot, obviously. But we enjoy it, and it's therapeutic for us, and we try and just, if it's too much, we back off. We don't get overloaded by it.
This is the front. I can't even tell that there's a road there.
No, I know, it's quite secluded.
It's very private.
I think the main thing was we were trying to get rid of as much lawn as possible. The kids used to say, which bit are you going to dig up this summer? And sure enough, we did a bit every year. But we had no real overall plan when we started. We've got a sunny area at the front of the house. And then this is all shade garden back here. And we have a lovely secluded nook here. You know, when it gets too hot, we can hide in the shade.
Looks like a nice place to have a cup of tea.
It certainly is, yes. Yeah.
You mentioned that you were trying to get rid of as much lawn as possible. Why is that?
It's
well,
boring.
To us, lawn is not very interesting. It's monoculture, and it doesn't have much colour or texture variety in it that we're looking for. So we decided it's useful to have for walking on, for connecting parts of the garden. So we decided to try and keep a lot of it just for more or less paths, and then sculpture the beds around it. So you'll notice a lot of the beds have sort of curving shapes, which we got out of a book. Gardeners borrow everything from somebody else.
Yeah.
We got the idea out of a book, and it seems to work quite well here.
You don't necessarily have to have flowers in order to have colour. And we have a lot of colour from leaves and a lot of texture from different types of leaves. So that was an aim, to always have something colourful to look at.
How did you learn about gardening over all these years?
Well, I think some of it comes naturally. We're sort of genetically hardwired to be gardeners because we grew up in the UK, I in Ireland and Toby in England. And so gardening was the rule, not the exception. And then, of course, we've got oodles of gardening books and magazines like every other keen gardener, and we're self-taught, really.
And we put in mostly perennials. Almost everything here is a perennial, and so that minimizes the amount of work in theory. I mean, not always in practice, but it should allow us to have some rest time as well.
We've got a book out of the library, I think, on how to build a garden pond. And the very first thing it said was, this is an easy thing to do. It'll only take you a weekend to put in a pond. Well, it wasn't written for Newfoundland gardening. Toby went out and rented a jackhammer. So it took a lot more than a weekend to put in, but we don't regret it. It's a very tranquil sort of area.
And I have to say, a shed is not usually a beautiful feature of someone's garden, but this one is the exception. And you built this yourself.
Yeah, I did. There was a base there originally, a concrete base, and we thought we'd try and make a feature out of it and make something that looked nice. And I sort of conjured this out of my mind somehow. I don't know exactly how, but it used the space and it seemed to work out all right. Again, a little bit of trial and error, I think, but I didn't initially have the arch window in it, and then I rebuilt the roof to put it in afterwards, and I think it worked.
Well, this is really the nicest bit about gardening, is at the end of a busy day of weeding, is to come up here and sit back with a nice cup of tea or a glass of wine and enjoy it all.
Enjoy all of your hard work.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Pat and Toby Rivers, this is so beautiful, and I really hope this garden serves as some inspiration for other gardeners out there. Thank you so much.
They were strong, but not like me.
I was screaming all the time, "Go lad! Go lad!"
Could you hear her when you were competing?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, confidence is key. For years, this teenager dreamed of becoming an arm wrestling champion, and that dream has come true. Why chess is his key to success. That story is next. Well, this past spring, we introduced you to young Vlad Pinchuk. He was the newly declared provincial arm wrestling champion off to the Nationals in Ottawa. Now the 14-year-old is the Canadian champion. Not too shabby, considering Vlad and his family came to Canada just 10 months ago from Ukraine. His next stop, Greece, for the Worlds later this month. But before that, he and his proud mom sat down with On The Go's Chrissy Holmes.
It was his dream for years, and now in 14 his dream comes true. He did it. He did it. He won all another guys from another provinces.
This is the first time Newfoundland's taken this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell me about the guy that you ended up winning to get this medal and the competition itself.
They were strong, but not like me.
When I realized that he won this final battle, I just crying. It was tears of happiness, but yeah, I was crying. It was very emotional. Right.
What was going through your mind as mom watching this in Ottawa and watching your son just take the national champion, the national medal in seconds?
I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him. I know how long he goes to this aim, to this goal, and it was not easy for him because it the first so big competition in his life. Of course, we both were nervous, and but I believe in him. And now I believe in his victory on World's competition because I know he's in great shape now. Yeah, and he can bring victory to Canada.
I'm going to come to the world thing in a moment, but even in that moment, Vlad, like, did it hit you right away? Like, because if it's happened in seconds, I mean, at what point did it hit you what you just accomplished?
Oh, I can't imagine. It was very quick, fast, and I said, I'm a champion. Whoa, it was very exciting for me, yeah, and was very happy. But my mom more happens than me was. Yeah.
I was screaming all time, "Go Vlad! Go Vlad!"
Could you hear her when you were competing?
Of course.
Yeah. I was the loudest one.
That's amazing. So you play. You're good at everything.
Yes.
Yeah. And chess.
And chess, yeah.
Really? Yeah. And what comes most helpful for arm wrestling? What sport do you think helps in the strategy the most?
Oh, chess, of course.
What? Why chess?
It's because of tactic.
Yeah, strategy.
So now that you are the national champion in arm wrestling in Canada, what now? Is there such a thing as the world? What happens next?
I will represent Canada on championship world.
It will be held in Greece this autumn, and this trip is quite expensive. So we are looking for a sponsor who will support Vlad and his trip, and we will be so grateful for all support, and please make his dream come true, and it's a big honor for Vlad to represent Canada.
Well, I'm hoping that maybe you can show us some of these chess strategies. Are you up for that?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so if we're going to start, we're going to do this, right? Our elbows are, I mean, we're not regulation table here, but we're good, right?
Good, yeah. I think
okay. Ready?
Go.
Oh, yeah. No. Oh, I can see you got a lot of wrist strength. You're curling, and then you're getting me away from my body strength here. You're getting me out on a limb. Yeah, right. Okay, fine, you win.
You're too strong. Good job.
That was so fun.
Chrissy did really well there, I think. And who knew that chess skills were transferable to arm wrestling? Congratulations on that national win, Vlad, and we'll be rooting for you when you compete in Greece. Well, in other news, call it a walking tour with a twist. Quite literally, a neighborhood walking tour through the streets of downtown St. John's is part history, part performance. And not only do you meet the people living on the street, they take you inside their home. And as you're about to see, there's a bigger message at play about creating a sense of community.
My name is Louise Moyes, and I am the creator of Longs Hill Walk. I lived here, which is a walking tour of my beautiful neighborhood, our beautiful neighborhood in downtown St. John's.
Okay, here's where I'm going to
So this walk is about our community, it's about our neighborhood and the many layers of history here. When we were creating the walk, we interviewed archivists, historians, neighbors who live here now and neighbors who lived here in the 1940s and the 1950s. And we work with short stories from Newfoundland writers, Lisa Moore, Michael Winter, Dave Padden, who does recitations, and stories about the neighborhood. The walk is a bit unusual in that we start right outside our house, and then we invite people into our house. So we walk through the house and you learn about the history of it and the social history and our neighbors in the 80s. And then we bring the audience into hidden gems in our neighborhood, because there's nothing like a live walk, being in the space, experiencing it, and the audience gets to move through in between the performances. There's dance, there's modern dance, jazz dance, 1950s dance, and lots of good stories.
I'm standing outside 77 Longs Hill, and to most it would be just an address, but to me it will, and my family, it will forever be the house. I am part of the walking tour put together by Louise Moyes and DocuDance, and my part in this is to give some beautiful memories of my family who lived here in the late 1940s until mid-1960s. And I spent many years of my childhood in residence with those wonderful people.
We want to create empathy for our neighborhood, for people in our neighborhood, for people struggling, and the audience does find that once they see this dancer that they've seen several spots on the walk, wow, they can feel, oh yes, that there before the grace of God go I, you know, like we all have a role to play to help with these struggles in our society.
Exactly.
Student unemployment hit its highest level in more than a decade this summer, aside from the pandemic. That's according to the latest job numbers from Statistics Canada. Meantime, the economy also added about 22,000 jobs last month. Employment rose last month in educational services, healthcare, insurance, and real estate, but it was a challenging summer job market for students returning to school in the fall. Between May and August, the jobless rate hit 16.7%. The gorillas at the Berlin Zoo are being put to work, but they likely don't know it. The apes are part of an artificial intelligence project that aims to improve the protection of the endangered animal. Here are two of the scientists behind it.
We've been developing these ideas now in our lab, but we wanted to test it, and flying all the way to the Congo Republic is quite difficult, so we contacted the zoo. They were very happy to work with us, and so we've set up 3 cameras here, and they're capturing video footage of these 6 gorillas that live here. And so we're testing our ideas and testing the artificial intelligence as well as the satellite connection here.
That's the whole system. That's the motion-activated wildlife camera, which there are already 92 in the Congo. This is the Sentinel, where we converted our AI from a big server to run on the small device, which allows us to transfer the data via satellite. The challenge before was that someone had to go to all those places in the jungle every 4 to 6 weeks. This new system allows to really reduce this amount of time someone has to go to, hopefully down to every 3 months or so.
Western lowland gorillas, as well as all other kinds of gorillas, are critically endangered. And because of this, we need to really track the population and make sure that the developments are healthy. The idea is to set up cameras in different locations and track what is going on, and immediately see when there's a new disease or where if certain gorillas have disappeared.
Wow. Well, before we head to break, I want to give you another chance to enter our Back to School contest. This was the inspiration, as we mentioned earlier. Cameraman Curtis Hicks returned to his elementary school in Mount Pearl while on a shoot this week, and he recreated his first day photo. So sweet. He said it was a Very nostalgic, and we would love to see your photos from your first day of school. The older, the better. Dig into those old photo albums and pull out those photos and email them to herenow.nl@cbc.ca, and we'll draw for a prize. We have a really nice CBC side satchel with some goodies inside.
Time for another look at your forecast. Ryan Snodden in for Ashley this evening. So tomorrow is going to be a pretty fine day, really, across the province. We'll see increasing clouds across the island. No doubt clouds thickening through the afternoon where it's going to be mainly cloudy. Now, the winds are going to be from the southeast tomorrow. Most of us certainly feeling those gusts picking up into the afternoon, but most notably down towards the Port aux Basques area, we could see some gusts 50 to 60 into the afternoon, and the Wreck House area looking set to see gusts to 90 kilometers per hour by the end of the day tomorrow, and gusts to 120 through tomorrow evening and into the early overnight. So if you're traveling there, just be mindful that the Wreck House winds are going to do their thing through tomorrow evening. We will be seeing those showers in Nain tomorrow, but otherwise Labrador looking pretty good. the look ahead for Sunday, and you can see, yeah, those temperatures are going to be riding still into the 20s with a southerly wind, and that wet weather will be kind of lingering through a good chunk of the day. Let's time it out for you. So those clouds certainly building in, as you can see here, for Saturday, and those shower chances by the end of the day down towards the south and west. This system moving in, weakening as it moves in, not nearly as notable as it will be for the Maritimes, where it's really going to be bringing some heavy rain. But we will be looking at some periods of rain, no doubt, for eastern Labrador on Sunday, as well as western parts of Newfoundland, at least into the potential for some periods of steadier rain. Overall, though, this is going to be showers, especially central towards eastern Newfoundland. We may even see a couple of sunny breaks for the northeast, including St. John's on Sunday afternoon, though don't hold your breath on that. Now, note as that low moves off to the north, we've got a couple of secondary lows to follow it. And this one here, Sunday night into Monday could see some steadier periods of rain moving back into Newfoundland, so we'll keep an eye on that. That all looks set to lift off to the north, and we've got some clearing skies as we move back into the Tuesday timeframe of next week. That is your forecast. Carolyn, have a great weekend.
Thanks, Ryan. Well, it's Friday, so let's find out who's celebrating. Congratulations to Lloyd and Vera Bennett of Corner Brook, now living in Clarenville. They're celebrating their 59th anniversary. Happy 50th anniversary to Jim and Elizabeth Hobbs of Springdale, now in St. John's. Happy anniversary to Joyce and Winston Moland of Musgrave Harbour, who are marking 57 years together. It's a golden anniversary today for Maurice and Patricia Murray from Flat Rock. Patsy and Cecil Squires are also celebrating 50 years of marriage. Congratulations. Happy 52nd anniversary to Ed and Rosalind McGraw of Torbay. Reverend Robin and Norma Pilgrim of St. John's are celebrating 60 years of marriage next week. They're now living in London, Ontario. Happy 60th anniversary also to Gordon and Hulda Penny of Corner Brook, now in St. John's. Happy 54th anniversary to Dave and Carol Taylor of Foxtrap. It's a 68th anniversary for John and Elsie Noble of Dover. Happy 64th anniversary to Stan and Doris Butler of Conception Bay South. Wishing John and Thelma Brake a happy 61st anniversary. Anniversary greetings going out to Mary and Peter Harrison, who are celebrating 53 years together. Congratulations to John and Daphne Roberts of Happy Valley Goose Bay. They've been married 58 years. Happy 60th anniversary to Bill and Frances Smith of Hatchet Cove. Best wishes to Mary and John Drake of Mary's Town on their 56th anniversary. Happy 65th anniversary also to Helen and Clarence Fisher in St. John's. Bert and Marina Short of Grand Falls, Windsor are marking 65 years of marriage. Happy 50th anniversary to Brian and Janine Vallis of St. John's. Congratulations to Kevin and Mary Walsh of Mary's Town, now living in St. John's. It's their 60th anniversary tomorrow. Happy 50th wedding anniversary today to Fraser and Lavinia Harding. Best wishes to John and Judith Budgell of St. Anthony on their 50th anniversary. Now to some birthdays. Happy 100th birthday to Edith Head, who is celebrating with family and friends in Grand Falls, Windsor. Happy birthday to Edna Pollitt of New Harbour. She just turned 94. Happy 95th birthday to Gilbert Late of Lewisport. Wishing Lex Hudson from Pooch Cove a very happy 91st birthday. Best wishes to Frank Parrott, who's celebrating his 90th birthday. Happy 93rd birthday to Theo Wells of Hare Bay. Twins Fred Moss and Ansel Moss of Sandy Cove are marking their 91st birthday. Happy 93rd birthday to Morris Blake of Northwest River. Wishing Florizel Jennings a happy 90th birthday in Deer Lake this Sunday. Best wishes to Mary McDonald from Corner Brook, who turns 94 on Sunday. And wishing Edith Hedge a happy 93rd birthday in Deer Lake. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. Well, that's it for us. Thank you for spending part of your evening with us. And thanks so much for rolling with all of our time changes this week. If you've been with us, you've seen that we've had to adapt to bring you some ongoing coverage of the Paralympics in Paris. But we will return to our normal time on Monday, so that's 6 o'clock Island time, a half hour earlier in most parts of Labrador. And Ashley will be back with us. But of course, thank you so much to Ryan Snodden for filling in while Ashley was off for these couple of days. And one more quick mention about our back to school contest. We would love to see your back to school photos from years gone by. We'll draw for a prize next week. So as I mentioned earlier, just dig into to your old photo albums. If you can find those old pictures of your first day of school, that would be amazing. And we have some CBC satchels to give away. Here's one of them right here. So yeah, they're pretty cool. So you can just email your photos to hereandnow.nl@cbc.ca. Well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for joining us and hope to see you again on Monday. Have a great weekend.